Chapter 2. I remembered when I first laid eyes on him, a very tall, beautiful, almost black animal with an overwhelming, calm, kind eye that looked straight back at me. Although 3 years old and unbroken, he looked wise. "He is beautiful, but very big," said my mother, as she watched my gaze and could read my mind. He must have stood at 16.3 or more, with still more growing to do. I was shown other horses on the dealer's yard, but I kept coming back to him. He had come over in a boatload from an island a day ago. Yes, he was big, but I decided that it was mainly due to his long legs. His body was largely compact, and I felt, whilst only being of average build myself, I should be able to manage him. He had hardly any tail or mane, from where he had appeared to rub it to its bald state, plus he had a patch of ringworm and rain scald, but despite all this he was still overwhelmingly handsome. I bought young horses to produce to as far as I thought they could go. I usually bought 2 at a time and had to work one to sell in order to afford the other. I asked to see him loose in the school. He was anxious, but I could see that he had long, loose paces and a somewhat gangly gait, which was to be expected at his age. His jump was big, but not particularly tidy. He appeared to be biddable and kind, just incredibly green. I liked him. I was not sure why, but I just knew that I did. I tried to never ask myself why and just trust my instinct. My head does not always like me doing that, and always asks me why, but this time my heart overruled. I knew that it was him that I was going to bid on, so I spoke to the dealer, and after a hard haggle Fred and I shook on a deal. I agreed that I would carry out my own vetting and pick him up the next day. I satisfied myself by feeling for any lumps and bumps and watched him move carefully. Fred was a friend whom I have bought from before, so I trusted that he would not dope him. My wife nicknamed him Sean Bean, as she thought he was gorgeous, Fred said with a twinkle in his eye. The image of a little man with a strong Yorkshire accent could not be further from my mind as I stared at this beautiful animal, but I smiled graciously back. The following day I had my best friend from college, Sophie, staying with me, and we were set to enjoy some girly time. When she arrived from London, I said, how does she fancy an impromptu trip up north to collect a horse?